Hello, and welcome to Thursday Tutorials. My name is Antonio Perez. I am here to show you exactly how I did the tutorial from last week, and it's pretty simple, by the way. So let's get started. Right now I have Premiere Pro opened up, and here is the footage that I used, which you only really need one footage to do what I did. So here we go. Basically what I'm doing is actually standing in position. So what you need to start with put a ball in your mouth. All right, get into a position of where you want to be and look down with the ball in your mouth. Look back up, act surprised, look back down, spit the ball out, look back up, and stay there for a few seconds. And that's really all you need to do. But you need to be careful and make sure to remember exactly where you were each movement, because every time you move your head down, you move it back up in the same exact spot it was. That makes this effect so much smoother in the end. So you gotta make sure your movements match going up and down. So that's very important. So now that we have our footage, we'll put it in the timeline. And then from the timeline, we will then just cut out what we don't need. So we don't need any of this, me standing around getting my positioning straight. So let's start it right there. Actually, let me give it a few more seconds. Let's see, start right there. Start right there, look up, surprised, look back down, spit the ball out, look back up. Stay there for a few seconds, and that's it. That's all you need. So this is our footage. So now what we're going to do is we are going to crop, or I guess zoom into the footage so it's a lot easier to work with for this effect. So we're just going to scale into like a 7. Oh, I mean 70%. I want to scale into 170%, and then let's position it so kind of you want a lot of empty-ish space up here. You don't want too much. You want just enough, because when it's easier to have more footage or more stuff on top, like more extra space on top, than not having any at all, because you can easily get rid of that later. So let's just say I want that much space, right? Because you have to remember that what we're going to do with this, we're going to actually flip the image, and kind of have like a mirroring effect going on. So you want to have enough room to play with. I mean, you could always just do it to there if you really wanted to, but I like giving it a little bit more. So I'm going to put it to about, let's say about right there. So bam, our image is now zoomed in and positioned just right. So now what you do is you select the image again, and you duplicate it. You can either duplicate it by holding your Alt key on your keyboard and clicking the right key button on your mouse and bringing it up, and that will duplicate it. Or you can go to your image, right click, go to copy, and then click Command V to paste, or Control V to paste. I meant left click earlier, not right click. Anyway, so as before, duplicating is selecting it, Alt, left click, go up, and duplicate. So now we have two of the same image duplicated. So what do we do with this? So all we gotta do really is put this image, put it next to that image, and then in your effect library, which is over here, effects, is all your effect library for Premiere, you look up morph cut. You look up morph cut. And then with morph cut, what you do is you drag it and drop it right in all those two things. Which basically what morph cut does, it makes sure that both of these images, like both of those files, it will morph them together, kind of morph that cut, so it makes it more seamless, basically. So now I got that morph cut in between them, so you can either have it longer or shorter depending on what you prefer. I'm going to leave it just as that. So now we have the two footages with a morph cut in between them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to left click, select all our footage that we have in the timeline, or you can even click Control, left click, and left click. Shift, left click, and left click to select individually, but I like to just click left click and kind of, select all at once. And then you're going to right click and then click Nest. And you can name your nest whatever you want. I'm going to name it Flip. We have those two footages put into a nest. What a nest does is if you want to add an effect to multiple different footages at once, instead of clicking each individual footage and adding the effect, you could just nest them all together and add it to the nest as a whole. What it does is basically it holds them all together into one. So if you move the nest, you move every footage in it simultaneously, which is pretty cool. So now you have this nested image of what we just did. So we're going to do, you can do it again. You're going to duplicate this again. So you can either do Alt left click up, or again, right click, Control, or copy, paste. So we got two images now. We do two images. So we go to the top image right here. We look up on the effect control. We do so you want to flip it vertically, and then you gotta have to align these two different nests that we have. So you just got to move that down. We got to change the sizing, so let's change it to 70% and move that. Click the bottom nest, bring it down to 70%. And basically just figure out where it works best for you, like what sizing, exactly how much you want to see in your things. Let's do 70. More. Bam. Okay, so right now we have we're at a really good spot where we are right now with this effect. So now let's just see what's happening so far. So basically the same effect is happening. Like we're seeing duplicates of what just happened, right? But now we kind of want to kind of pull out. You want the ball to go from this person up here to the person down there. So again, you have to, before you do anything, completely went over this, you have to change the speed and duration. You have to reverse it. Okay, there we go. That makes it a little easier. There we go. Why is it looking weird? And I just gotta match the ball. You're ever editing in Premiere or any other software, it's good. I don't know how other softwares work, but I know in Premiere that whenever you're editing, you see these yellow bars here, red bars here. That means whenever you try to do video playback, whenever it's a yellow bar, you might see some like little jumps here and there, or it might not be fully rendered. Your footage, when it gets to a red bar, it's definitely not going to be rendered at all. And the playback is going to be extremely slow when it gets to the red part. So in order to get over this, or to help you like a little bit smoother editing or see a smoother playback, you could do a few things. One thing you can do is select everything in your timeline, go to sequence, click render in and out, or just render timeline. It'll render your timeline for you. Or what you could do also is change your resolution playback speed by just like knock it down, because it'll be a full if you want to see it at a half, see it at a quarter, or anything like that. So here you just gotta find where the ball really lies, where the ball drops and where I'm catching the ball into my mouth. You just gotta match those things up, and after you're done with that, you are all good to go. Trick is finding it. There we go. And all you do is trim this in. Your access, you trim it into there. You trim the back together. So that's one thing. And all you need to do is copy it again. You can either nest it, call it, and nest those nests again, so you have a bigger nest of those two together, and then you just copy, Command or Control V to paste, put them together. So you can either keep on copying it and pasting it behind each other just so to keep the effect going on and on. It's like seamless, almost like forever if you wanted to. Or you can just keep the initial flip that we did earlier and just have it go like once or twice. But the choice is completely up to you. And that is how I did the video from last week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to making more tutorials like this in the future. Anyway, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.